This is the walkthrough video for the 2021 Forest River Sunseeker 3010 DS. Starting with the front tires, they should be filled to 75 psi in the front and 80 psi for the rear tires. The side cameras are blinker activated, and I'll show you them on the monitor in the cab. So just inside the entry door, there's a small safe here, and it is accessible with the gray keys. The black oval key works for both locks on the entry door. It is safest to use the deadbolt whenever possible. The storage compartments are the small silver keys that say CH751. The flat side of the key goes on the bubble side of the lock. It is best to have the locks locked before you start driving. This does help for water tightness and to ensure that they don't open up while you're driving. You hit the forward ignition key and then the lock, unlock, and panic button for the cab. So off to the side here, we have a furnace duct, the battery disconnect. So the two house batteries are located in the entry step here. Okay. Batteries charge 4 ways. They charge when you're driving, when the generator's on, when the shore power's on, and from the solar panel. They must be in the on position to be able to charge. These two red light switches are for outside lights, for the patio and awning lights. The patio light's just behind the compartment door there. The awning extend and retract button is right beside it. So the awning button will not operate if the key is in the ignition. That way you don't accidentally open up the awning while you're driving down the road. And the awning, you just press the extend button until you see the aluminum tube roll on the end. And you can adjust the pitch on the sides. And to do that, you just simply pull down on the elbow and it will tilt down on the one side. You don't have to readjust when you bring the awning in. Up above it is the leveling jack system. I'll come back to this. And the solar panel controller. So it just gives you some information on the time, temperature, and how it's charging. Just in the entry door here, it does have the Safe Ride roadside assistance. So you can call the nearest dealer service if you're out on the road. So the TV is on an arm, so you can adjust it if it has sun glare like it does now. Just a couple smaller storage compartments. The water heater, it does have instructions here. The winterizing rod. And the on and off operation is on the control panel inside. There is an outlet here. A GFI for all of the outlets is in the bathroom. The propane tank, it does have a gauge outside so you can see how full the tank is, and then there's an electronic reading inside on the control panel. This is the open and close valve for it, and the gas technician will fill it up on the yellow, underneath the yellow cap. The freshwater fill is located underneath the bed slide. And the low point drain for that, so if you filled up the tank and then you want to empty it out, it's by that blue line. So there is a valve, that black twisty valve there. You can turn that sideways and the water, the clean water that you put inside the freshwater tank will go straight outside down the blue line there. The red line is the overflow drain for the water heater. The heavy-duty filter housing is where the water filter will go, and that filters the water throughout the unit. It comes in very handy in saltwater conditions. The water pump is located up to the side, so that's to bring water from the freshwater tank to the faucets. You'll have to turn the water pump switch on at the control panel, which I'll show you inside. And it does make a vibrating sound while it's on. You do not have the water pump on while the vehicle is in motion. This coiled up white hose is for winterizing. So the cap will come off and the end will go into a jug of antifreeze, and it uses the water pump to suck up the antifreeze and pump it throughout the unit. Off to the left, this little white cap here is where the Firestone airbag fill is. So they are very small airbags. They're about 6 inches high once they're filled all the way up. They deplete very quickly when you test them and fill very quickly when you're filling them up. So as with the tire pressures, it is best to check the pressures of the airbags weekly or before you go out on your trip. And the airbag pressures will be set to 80 psi when you leave here. If you're going on some very bumpy roads, like gravel roads or a rougher highway, you might feel that 30 or 40 psi is more comfortable. Otherwise, you might like it on the higher end at 80 if you're going to be towing something and there's a lot of weight in the back. So don't leave them empty at 0 or burst them at 100. Continuing, it's the passenger storage compartment at the back. They just do have lights and drain ports as well, so that's the little black cap there. The black triangle is the blind spot radar system, so that is going to tell you on the pillar in the cab if there is someone in the lane beside you. If you have your blinker on at the same time, it will alarm. So you have the back wall. So where this tag is flapping, this is the propane connection. You can put a barbecue on there or another propane appliance. It is a 750-pound tow hitch with a 7-pin connector if you're going to be towing something. The backup camera is a wide angle and it's built into the light at the top. And the ladder is for roof access. It is a good idea to check the roof every 6 months. It is usually done with a service when you get it winterized and dewinterized. They inspect all the seals and make sure they haven't dried out or cracked from the sun. And for exterior maintenance, it is best if you can wash the motorhome once a month or for sure at the end of every trip. So this is just the other side of that pass-through compartment, another drain port and a light. The 30 amp shore power connection is here, so when you're plugging it in, you just want to watch that you line up the L-shaped piece there, and don't put the trim ring on too tight, so they are plastic. Right underneath it is the coax connection for cable TV. The park that you go to has cable. So in the compartment below here, you have the other side of your airbag suspension. This is the 30 amp shore power cable and all of your items for the dump station. So there is a light right above there. It's called driver's side rear light on the control panel, and it will help you see this area at night. So we have the outside shower, black tank flush, and city water connection. You have a small light right here, and the sewer outlet. So you'll want to bring your sewer hose up through this white cutout here and twist it on to the outlet there. You always pull your black valve first, let it all empty out, and then pull your gray valve and let it empty out. If you find that you still have smells or fumes coming up from the toilet, or it's the end of the season and you want to rinse out the black tank, that's when you'll use the black tank flush. So to do that, you'll have your sewer hose connected, black tank valve open, hook up your water here, turn on the water hose, and it will rinse out the tank. Just make sure that you have the black tank valve open before you turn the water on. The next one here is the city water connection. So this is the water that goes straight to the faucets. It doesn't use the water pump like the freshwater tank does. This one it's surged water, goes straight to your faucet. The gas fill is on the driver's side. We have a long storage compartment, short storage compartment, and then the generator is behind the driver door. So it is a 4,000 watt generator. It runs off of the fuel tank of the motorhome, and the siphon is set at 1/4 of the tank. You can start the generator from outside here or from the control panel inside. It is best to start it from out here if you haven't started it up for a few months. And so to do that, you hold it down on the stop prime side for a few seconds until the red light turns on, and then you hold it down on the start side. It does have the yellow cap there, and that's for oil changes. It requires its first oil change at 50 hours, then at 100 hours, and every 100 hours following. And there is also a little breaker switch on the generator. So if you're running the generator and you notice that it's not supplying any power, you want to check the breaker that's right beside the switch. Okay. So you have your other side camera here, and this is the exhaust for the generator. So just inside the entry door, it does have the tire pressure ratings there in case you need a refresher. This is the power seat. Goes front, back, and tilts. It does have the emergency start button. So there's this button in the middle of the front of the driver's seat. So if your engine battery has gone flat, you want to boost the engine battery using your house battery. So you'll make sure that your battery disconnect at the entry door is on, and you'll want to check the level of it to make sure that it is full. If it's not full, you'll want to run the generator to charge it up. Give it some time to charge up, and then come back to the steering wheel here. You'll hold the emergency start button down while at the same time turning the key over, and hold the battery button for a few seconds, and then you can release it and the engine should be on. If not, you want to give it a couple minutes at least to charge up the battery a little bit more, and then try that again. Your light switches are here. The mirror controls, so the top mirror, it is a power mirror with the lower blind spot mirror that's manual. So you turn the knob to the side, adjust by the arrows, and the red on-off switch is for heat only. Alright, so I'm going to come back around to the inside. So heading inside the motorhome, this does have the wireless phone charger. The 12-volt battery disconnect has to be on to have power there, and that's for phones or devices that can wirelessly charge. The garbage drop down, the double stainless steel sink. To start up the stovetop, you'll want to make sure that you have the glass back, and you tell any of your guests to put it back first before they use the range. The little light switch there is for the light on the knobs, and then to light the burners, you put it to high, and then turn the sparker, and you can adjust the temperature from there. So high, spark, temperature. So sometimes it can take a few tries with the sparker to get it going if the propane has been off for a while. And we also, if you're starting up the furnace and it's still a lot of cold air, we can turn on the burners here, and it will help the propane get moving through the line a little bit faster, and that will help the furnace warm up. The convection microwave oven. So it does work as a regular microwave, or you can press convection, set the temperature, and start it. There are 4 screws for this panel here to access the back end of the water heater for winterizing. And the fridge is very simple. So whenever you have the battery on, the fridge will be on. You can press and hold it for 10 seconds to turn it off, and you can press it once to adjust the temperature settings. This freezer has its own temperature control in the back. And when you're driving, you just want to make sure that the peg is in the locked position. That way the doors don't swing open as you're driving. The pull-out pantry. The power fan is above, so it has instructions right on it. Pull to unlock, and then adjust the fan speeds there. It's pretty quiet. and push to lock. That's it. The control panel is behind us here. So to start, the indicator panels, so propane is full, battery is about 2/3, fresh, black, and gray tanks are empty. The generator start is from in here, so you can hold it down on the prime side until the red gen light turns on, and then hold it down on the start side for up to 10 seconds. I'll do that in a minute, it's just pretty noisy. So then water heater controls are electric and propane. You can use both if you have both power sources available to you. The next one is the water pump, so that's to bring water up from the freshwater tank. You do not use this switch while the vehicle is in motion, and that's you don't use that switch if you're connected to the city water connection outside. The next one is the Arctic pack. So there are 12-volt heating pads on the holding tanks. So you'll turn this switch on below 10 degrees Celsius. They will turn on as they need to and off once they've warmed up. It is best to have the furnace on whenever you're in these kind of conditions. And the Arctic pack is rated for -10, but that's going to be up to how comfortable you are. So if you think that -10 is, and it's not just wind chill, it's very cold, it is best if you winterize the motorhome to make sure that the plumbing in between the tanks don't freeze. The two black light switches there are for the interior lights. Have the slide out control for the living room slide, and then the driver's side rear light is the light over the dump station outside. Down below there is the carbon monoxide detector. It does run on 12-volt power, so if the battery is low, then it will alarm because it's not sure if there's something that it needs to be panicking about. So in the bathroom area, you have a simple foot flush toilet, your light and power fan switches. You'll want to make sure that this vent, the front living room vent, and the bedroom vent are all closed before you start driving or if it is raining. The GFI is in the back corner with the reset button in case the outlets stop powering. The thermostat is just around the corner from the bathroom. So you have the purple power button. Mode cycles through AC, furnace, and fan. Auto cycles through, fan cycles through auto, high, medium, and low. Auto will adjust to get to the temperature that's set in the red box above. If you have the heat or furnace on and high, medium, or low, you will have a cool air running through the fan of the AC system. So it is best to have that in auto, that way you don't have the cool air coming from above. And then the up and down temp arrows are to adjust the number temperature that's going to be in the red box. And then you have a couple timer and sleep functions down there. So just have the light switch for the bedroom, and the slide out control is across on the other side. For the AC vents, they do have a little arrow on them. So only open and close them with that arrow, and then you gently spin them around. So you have your 12-volt TVs. I'll show you how to scan the one in the front. And the cabinets are lit as well. So you have outlets and USB ports on both sides of the bed. Lots of drawers under the wardrobe, and then the breaker and fuse panel underneath the bed, so that they have labels to tell you what each item is for. Just a quick peek at the shower. Make sure you always have the shower door locked before the vehicle goes in motion. All of the manuals are inside the dinette drawer. The white wrench is for the water filter housing, so just make sure not to tighten it too much, as it is just plastic. The privacy curtain goes around the front, so it has the Velcro on it, and they go around these little black buttons. So they go around each of them. There. All the manuals will be inside the black Forest River package. So you have your manuals here for airbags, air conditioner, solar panel, everything like that. Safe ride information, Forest River Owners Group, Ford manual, and remotes. So the 3 TV remotes, so living room, bedroom, and outside, all work for the same, like one remote works for all 3 TVs. Thermostat has its own remote. This is for the dash stereo remote, and then the stereo over the entry door, it's just up there. And then this is a USB with information with the Forest River manual on it, and some other Sunseeker information as well. So using the stereo over the door with the remote here, speakers A are for the kitchen, B are for the living room, and C are for outside. So it does have like pairing as well, that way you can use Bluetooth or the USB and auxiliary ports there. In this cabinet on to the side, there is a power button there, and a green light to say that it's on. That's the black amplifier box or the antenna power. So the antenna is for the TV stations and the radio stations. Up above, you have a coax inlet, an HDMI port, and outlets, and you're meant to put a Blu-ray player or PVR device up in that little cubby there. So that HDMI port and coax are already wired to the back of the living room TV. So there is some storage behind here as well. And every time you go to a new location, you need to rescan for channels. So to do that, you have to do it on all 3 TVs. So you go to menu, channel, auto scan. If you were connected to the coax cable in the back outside, you would select cable, but in this case we need air. So you say auto scan, yes, and wait for it to go through the channels. So we're gonna run the generator to get the air conditioner going. So we're gonna hold it down on the prime side for a few seconds until that red light turns on. Wait a second. Alright, so there's the generator. The microwave will beep once the power has transferred. So in the meantime, I'll just quickly go over the dinette conversion. So the tabletop will come right off the post. The tabletop will lay down in the ledge area there, and then the rectangle cushion, the 2 rectangle cushions actually, so the center one and this small one here will lay down on top. That's the power transfer. And then you put a sheet on to hold all of the pieces together. So the power has transferred, so we'll come to the back. So AC, that's on high right now, and the temperature setting is at 60. So when this is closed, it means that the air is going through the vents. So propane is needed for the furnace. Not the generator, so I'm going to turn off the generator. We're going to bring the slides in and run the jacks. So to do that, we're gonna run the engine. So to make sure that the parking brake is on. So it's that exclamation point there. The parking brake release is just down in the corner here. So there's a slider piece to pull forward. So generally when you find a campsite, you want to park, look around, make sure you have a lot of room for your slides. There's nothing going to be in the way. And then you'll put your jacks down and then put your slides out. So we're doing things in a little bit of a different order because we're not setting up at the campsite. So I'm going to bring the slide in. So we just hold it until you hear the click. Let go. And the bed slide. Turns off on its own there. So now we can run the leveling jacks. So for the leveling jacks, they do have conditions for them. So they let you know when they're operating, if there's low voltage, excessive slope, ignition is on, or you need to turn the parking brake on. So they won't let you continue if one of those is an issue. So parking brake is on already, and the ignition is not on, so we don't have to worry about that. They're worried about us driving away. So we can continue by pressing auto level at this point to let them all go down on their own. But we do like to operate them down in manual mode while we're in gravel. And it is a good idea for you to know how they operate as well. So we operate them down in pairs. So we'll do front until they touch. And we're gonna feel a little bit of movement once they touch the ground. Two. So red lights that they're both down. Now the back. So I just felt the movement there. So you can adjust if you wanted to do a combination, if needed, to adjust a certain side. And then you can press I'll retract once you're finished. Just taking a quick peek at the jacks. So all four are down. To turn this swivel seat towards the living room, you'll want to use the yellow boot to unlock it. So you're going to turn it like that, and then it comes out on a 45-degree angle towards the living room. So unlock, pull, and then we spin it around. And now it's facing the living room. And the booster seat will go on top. And the buckles will clip in. So that is turning the swivel seat towards the living room. To bring it back, you're going to take the booster seat off, face the seat towards the front. So now it's straight with the front, and then it goes back on that 45-degree angle and clips in. And so we can hear it lock in place. To give it a little bit of a shake just to make sure that it's clicked in and that it's ready to drive on the road. Heading into the cab. Right. the radio's just turning on. So you can connect a Bluetooth device. So you have radio, Sirius XM. A tuner and antenna will need to be installed to access Sirius XM. The radio is ready for it, but it doesn't have the accessories for it. Bluetooth audio, phone, and backup camera. USB, you'll be using that USB port there. And then settings, so that's how you can pair your phone. So go back. So radio. So you can find a station to get stereo going.
KER.ca.
Okay. So backup camera. So it is a wide angle there. Just going to turn on the left blinker and then the right blinker, so you see down the sides. So you have AC vents, climate control, get flashers there, the Type C and USB chargers. Traction control, you can turn it off if you're in a situation that you needed to. The 12-volt port there, a little bit of storage, and then the Bluetooth microphone for Bluetooth calling is up in the top. And at the bottom of the pillars are the blind spot monitoring lights. So they'll light up if someone is in the lane beside you, and they will alarm if your blinker is on at the same time. So right now I have just the vehicle and accessory mode. So that's why we see like the battery and engine lights on. We can see the parking brake is still on. So I'm just gonna release it here. So I'm just gonna pull that forward. So that turns off the one light there. All right, so if you have any questions about the Sunseeker, just reach out and let us know. We're happy to help.